After spending around 3 hours with Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, I came away genuinely impressed with what Ubisoft Singapore is doing. From the very beginning, it was obvious the team understands exactly why Black Flag is still one of the most beloved games in the franchise. This does not feel like a simple remaster. It feels much closer to a full reimagining that keeps the heart of the original game intact while modernizing almost everything around it. During my hands-on session, I got a bit of everything. Some missions, naval combat, I got to check out some of the outfits and the new inventory system, as well as one of the new missions added to Resynced. The event itself was also handled well. The overall setup captured the tone and identity of Black Flag, and the collector's edition statue was honestly stunning in person. Edward looked incredibly striking up close, with an insane amount of detail put into the design. Getting the chance to meet Richard Knight and especially Matt Ryan was another huge highlight for me personally. The visual upgrade is immediately noticeable the second the game starts. The biggest standout for me was easily the water technology. I genuinely think that it's some of the best water I have ever seen in a video game. The movement, lighting, and clarity looked incredibly natural. Weirdly enough, it actually reminded me of when I went snorkeling in the Maldives 2 months ago, which just shows the amount of detail the team added. The way sunlight reflected through the ocean and how the waves moved around the jackdaw looked absolutely gorgeous in motion. Ubisoft confirmed the game is running on the latest version of the Anvil engine, the same tech used for Assassin's Creed Shadows, and you can really tell. The Caribbean has been completely rebuilt with modern lighting, denser environments, and much more detailed assets across the world. The new dynamic weather system was another major standout. Storms can roll in naturally while exploring or sailing, and the rain effects especially looked fantastic during gameplay. It added a lot more atmosphere to the world compared to the original game. What is interesting is that the weather is not just visual anymore either. Heavy rain and storms can actually affect visibility during stealth gameplay, which is a really cool addition. Combat still feels like Black Flag at its core, which I think was absolutely the right decision. Rather than trying to completely reinvent the system, Ubisoft seems to have focused on refining it and making it feel smoother and more responsive overall. The flow of fights feels more polished while still keeping the fast, swashbuckling style the original game was known for. Parrying now plays a much bigger role in combat. Enemies have defense meters that can be broken through attacks, gunshots, or perfectly timed parries. Landing a perfect parry opens up chain takedowns, which lets Edward quickly move between multiple enemies in one sequence. Weapons are also divided into different classes now, like the rapiers, cutlasses, and pistol swords, all with their own heavy attacks and playstyles. One thing I really liked was the game rewards variety. Enemies adapt if you rely too heavily on the same tactics over and over again, so fights naturally encourage you to mix things up instead of just spamming counters constantly. The rope dart unlocking earlier is, in my opinion, a good decision. It gives stealth players access to more creative kills and combat options much sooner than before. Stealth feels much more flexible this time around. The biggest change is that Edward can now crouch anywhere instead of only in specific stealth zones, which instantly makes sneaking around feel more natural. Tools like sleep darts, berserk darts, whistles, and coins have also been modernized to support distraction gameplay much better. The dynamic weather and day-night cycle also affect visibility now, meaning darkness and heavy rain can actually help you stay hidden. Parkour felt smoother overall too. Ubisoft added side ejects back into traversal, movement interruptions feel cleaner, and transitions between actions are noticeably faster than before. Ziplines are another nice addition and help movement around towns and villages feel more fluid. Naval gameplay still feels fantastic and honestly remains one of the strongest parts of Black Flag. The jackdaw handles smoothly, ship combat still has that satisfying weight behind it, and the added weapon depth gives battles a bit more strategy this time around. Each naval weapon now has secondary fire abilities. Heated shots were one of the more interesting additions shown during the demo, acting as a rapid fire naval weapon designed by Adewale. Mortars also now have a focused barrage mode called Deadman's Cohort, while swivel guns require manual aiming rather than simple quick time events. I do wish we got to see a bit bit more of the ship customization systems, and especially the new pet mechanics, but I completely understand Ubisoft wanting to hold some things back this early. Exploration feels much richer now overall. The Caribbean keeps the same overall scale as the original game, but the world itself is denser, more seamless, and filled with more things to discover. Players can now dive anywhere in the ocean to search for collectibles and hidden secrets, with new islands, themed beaches, smuggler caves, and expanded side activities help make exploration feel more rewarding. Ubisoft also confirmed that every mission in the game has been rebuilt with extra dialogue, secrets, and gameplay improvements. One of the biggest changes is that tailing missions no longer instantly fail and desynchronize you if something goes wrong. Instead, missions can now naturally branch forward depending on how situations play out, which honestly is a much needed improvement. While Ubisoft have mentioned new content such as 3 recruitable naval officers, each one having their own missions and perks, and a brand new endgame chapter called A World Without Gold, during my hands-on time with the demo, I only got a glimpse at one of the new missions with one of the new recruitable naval officers, and I'm really curious where their story goes in the game, and it's stuff like this which will make Black Flag Resynced feel like a new game for returning players. The cutscene improvements were another major highlight for me. Facial animations are noticeably better, characters feel far more expressive, and conversations feel more grounded emotionally than they did in the original game. That said, there were still a few small animation hiccups here and there during gameplay. Some traversal animations occasionally looked a little awkward, and I noticed a few moments where the transition from air moment into assassinations felt slightly off timing-wise. Still, this was clearly not a final build, so these are exactly the sort of things I would expect to be polished up before release. As for the demo setup itself, I felt that it was fairly smooth from start to finish. I played on PC with a PS5 controller and the stations were comfortable, gameplay ran well throughout my session, and capturing footage was surprisingly easy. The staff was also great and helped guide us through each part of the experience, which made everything feel relaxed and well organized. It sounds simple, but that kind of setup really helps you stay immersed in what you are playing instead of constantly dealing with technical issues or confusion. Overall, I walked away from the event really excited about Black Flag Resynced. What stood out the most to me is that Ubisoft Singapore seems to genuinely understand what made the original game special in the first place. They are not trying to replace Black Flag's identity. In fact, when Resynced releases, you'll still be able to go to the store and buy Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, as they are instead trying to build on the original. Between the visual overhaul, deeper combat systems, expanded exploration, and improved stealth mechanics, as well as the stronger presentation overall, this already feels like a meaningful evolution of one of Assassin's Creed's best games. If I essentially had to sum it up in one sentence, I would say that Black Flag Resynced feels like a visually stunning return to Edward Kenway's journey, one that captures the magic of the original while giving players a genuinely good reason to experience it all over again. I would like to give a huge thanks to Ubisoft Nordic for inviting me to the preview event, and should you have any questions on Black Flag Resynced, then let me know in the comments below and I'll answer it to the best of my abilities. If you like this video, then give me a thumbs up. If you dislike it, then give me a thumbs down, but please tell me why so I can improve my videos. Until next time, have a fantastic day and stay safe.